Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer. And fans, I'm here to help you bring the all important comic book review so you, the fans, can make a decision on what books to buy. And today, fans, this is going to be a doozy. Today, we're going to be talking about Batgirl issue number 35. Yeah, the new era of Batgirl has basically started here. Here in this issue, we no longer see, obviously, Gail Simone. She's completely off the book now. And in the beginning of this issue, it makes it a thing saying that a new era has began with Batgirl. So this issue is titled Burns, and it's done by Cameron Stewart. And and it's quite interesting, this issue. Right away, you're going to get a different tone by the artwork in this book. This just is like a scaled down version of Barbara Gordon. All the characters here have been made into, your late teens or early 20s types of characters. Facial expressions are very cartoony, maybe too comic style for certain readers. If you're used to reading Batgirl, this is something artistically very different from what we're used to seeing. So right away, you can see by all the visuals in this book that this book is very different from everything that you're used to reading from a typical Batgirl book. Did I mind the artwork in the issue? No. It's not what really makes or breaks the book for me. It's really the story that makes a difference in the book. So I could tolerate this artwork. So what did I think of this story, or what was the story about, so we can talk about it first? First off, you get to see Barbara Gordon in here, guys. Again, new creative team, new direction. This book is completely different from the Batgirl that you know. And you get to see Barbara. She moves across the bridge. She's on the other side of the town. She gets a new roommate, okay? And right off the bat, when you're reading this story, the tone is different here. You see her move in. She talks with her roommate. She's going to college. Barbara is, and right off the bat, we see that there's a night of partying from Barbara, and she gets a text message right on her phone, and and it's from her friend Frankie, and it's like, "Hey, party monster, gonna sleep the day away? Your guests are waiting for you." And it's like, guests. And right away now we see Barbara come out in her shirt and her underwear, and it's like, is it really necessary? I don't know. I mean, is this the life of a party girl? Is this what Barbara has become? And then right away, this book sends you into a modern day trend of what everyday life really is in the real world. And when it comes to comics and when it comes to real world, I like to take things differently. And this is too much like real life in a way for me, because right away we go into all the texting. So right away you get her little buddy here, and she's just like, "Diane just texted me. She's got a new number. Did you hear about her date last week? The guy totally stole her phone and bailed." And then it's just like, that's the way they talk in there. It's just like these uppity kids or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you see Barbara hook up with this guy, or she didn't hook up with him, but she was all over this guy, and right away she's embarrassed by it, and he's like, "Ouch, dude," It's just weird. It's just a weird type of book. You get to see all the emails that Barbara gets throughout her day with school, with her bank, and and her text messages. And so not only are you reading about Barbara's story of what's going on here, you're reading all her texts, you're reading all her emails, you're reading all her profile accounts from this place that she puts her profile on Hook. And it gets quite annoying in the issue. You get to see her stop by a trendy coffee shop, and I think this book works too hard at trying to be too modern and too hip for, teenagers and a younger audience, where it doesn't appease to maybe the little bit of an older audience. I think it strays away too much from the character that we have been used to. In the issue, you get to see some action here where she gets her laptop stolen, and it focuses a lot on her photographic memory that she has in here. We get to see Black Canary. She makes her appearance in here. We find out that she has her storage unit was all burnt and she's lost everything, so she stays with Barbara. And Barbara winds up losing her laptop and the computer, and we find out that there's this guy. His name is called Black Riot, I think his name is, and Riot Black. I'm sorry, Riot Black. And we wind up finding out that he's the one that gets possession of all these computers and all this technology and everything else like that. And we see Barbara set up this account, again, this Hook account, where it's an online dating service. And she gets all glammed up and she sets it up and she traps the guy that took her computer, that brought it to this guy's, Riot Black's, club or whatnot. And then all of a sudden you find out that, Barbara's costume and everything else wound up getting burned, so she had to home make her own costume, and it winds up coming out like this. And and she comes across this guy, and she takes care of the mission, kind of gives him a malware, and she winds up defeating him, and that's basically how the issue ends. Yeah, this is not a book that I really want to read on a regular basis. I want to read a comic book, and I want to read a comic book. I don't want to read the comic book's characters' emails. I don't want to read her online dating account. I don't want to read her text messages. I don't want to talk to or see her little trendy friends. Be like, oh my God, look, I just took a selfie. And you can see that right here on this cover where the direction is going with this book. I understand what they're trying to do, but for a lot of readers that are Batgirl fans, they're not going to like this. They're really not. And maybe for a new audience, they might like this because of the trendy, between the lingo, between all the abbreviated text messages, you might get what's going on here. But I don't know. This is just not for me. Again, I might be outdated for it. I'm a little old for it, but I don't think it's necessary to bring all of today's modern culture into a book like this. I just think it's too much. I think, if you have an email every once in a while or a text message every once in a while and you show that in an issue, that's fine. But for it to be its focal point in here, it was distracting and overwhelming, and it's like I developed a brain aneurysm while reading it. It was just frustrating, and when Riot Black wound up developing the malware in his brain, I felt like this guy. I was like this by the end of reading this. I'm like, oh my God, why I have to read all this? Because I felt like I was going to miss part of the story by reading it. Because there was a lot to read. Not only was there a lot of dialogue, but there was all that other stuff too. So after reading this book, I was disappointed with it. I might give it another issue just to see if it improves or if it kind of grows on me, because I like starting books and from jumping on points and new directions and see how they develop. But I don't know if I can see myself going in the long term unless the next issue dramatically improves and they kind of scale down that technology part, with all the apps and all that other nonsense. So we'll see where it goes from here. After reading this, I'm going to give this one a 2.5 out of 5. It's just a 360 compared to what we've seen from Batgirl in the past, and it's too much of a change here. So guys, if you've read this issue, leave me your comments below what you thought of this particular issue. And guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. And until the next comic book review, don't forget to take a selfie. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.